Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about the 3.22 updates to my Explosive Arrow and my Toxic Rain Ballista guide. If you're new here, I usually only update them in a shorter video. This time there's even less to talk about, so I put them in the same video, and that's simply because I don't want to make the same build guide every league if there's almost nothing to change. At some point I just feel stupid for saying the same thing over and over again. But those guides are still super valid. They're down below in the description. On top of that, my Maxroll guides are always up to date. If you want written form content, that is your go-to. But yeah, let's get first into the Toxic Rain updates. And this is not just going to be stuff from the patch notes, but also stuff I learned because I just played this one last league for the first time, so to speak. So first up, I was very concerned about Wilma's requital, and it was not even close to as expensive as I thought it was. Now, I can't go further down in the graph, but it definitely wasn't 12C. This is just because the league has been so damn long. But it started out as around about 1 Divine, and then went down real quickly to like 60, 50, 40 Chaos. So the flagship item is nowhere near as rare as I thought it was. Even while it was meta, it wasn't all that expensive. The next change is that I replaced the Vitality's Watcher's Eye with the Phasing Watcher's Eye. Obviously, if you could, you would get both, but let me just get myself to the side. We used to use the Vitality Life Flask Recovery, which is huge. But honestly, I really like the perma phasing while having haste. It was kind of annoying to only have it on kill from here. So basically in the mid-game section, whenever you can acquire this jewel, respec these 2 points to these two. Now then, something people have pointed out, and that's just something I can't really change, is that the build does struggle in terms of like physical damage until you get Lightning Coil. Not really anything you can do about that. You could go like Determination and just be slow if you really wanted to. In general, I would just say I didn't really die that much, so just be a little bit careful around that time. Also, there are divination cards for Lightning Coil, so look those up. I don't know in which map tiles they will be this league. It always changes. Now then, I updated my Annoyance to Acrimony, and this actually looks like less damage than Potency of Will. So if you don't know, we used to get the 25% increased skill effect duration. It is, on paper, more damage than the 15 dot multi. However, the dot multi is not delayed, right? The skill duration comes at the very end. It doesn't kick in if your enemy runs out of it. So it was just quite annoying, and it felt like I had too much duration. So I'd rather get the instant damage and a little bit less. Then the Chaos Mastery. I'm really sorry if you took this trash. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, okay, this is going to be fine, right? I have so much regen from Pathfinder, but it's just not worth the hassle, honestly. It is a lot of damage, but it's just kind of annoying. One time you forget to actually click your life flask and your HP just goes down. Just skip it. Now then we have Totem Taunt, which in my opinion was overrated anyway. I was never really sure if I want it. Now, Taunt on hit, on the other hand, is huge. Now, if you don't know, there used to be a mastery that said taunt enemies whenever you place a totem for 1 second. And it's like, is that much? Not really, right? And you have to place the totems near enemies and stuff like that. It's like, in general, I'll say this, I actually nowadays don't run taunt at all, because sometimes against bosses it can be very annoying, because now you don't know, is Izaro gonna aim at me or at the totems, or I don't know, like where's Eater gonna aim his beam, stuff like that. It was actually quite annoying. But if I would get it, probably on a medium cluster jewel, which is on the projectile damage cluster, and it is called, let's see real quickly, Shrieking Bolts. 10% chance to taunt enemies on projectile hit. Pretty damn good. And then at the end, a question I also got a lot is, when do you actually stop attacking yourself and only let the totems do the work? The honest answer is just whenever you have Wilmas, right? Because Wilmas means you don't deal any damage anymore. Sure, you can make a Mirage Archer setup, but that's just not worth 6 sockets. So yeah, that's basically it. There's no reason not to self-attack with Toxic Rain until you get the helmet, because it's just more damage. Now then, Explosive Arrow updates. The taunt is also gone once again. On this version, you can't really take this one, like the projectile damage taunt, because projectile damage doesn't scale your ignite at all. So the only thing I can think of is just don't go taunt, right? Which I don't think is that big of a deal. But you can also get it from a Abyss Jewel. So I don't know if this rolls on anything but a Murderer's Eye Jewel. It definitely doesn't roll on Ghastly Eye Jewels or Searching Eye Jewels. So just make sure that you're not getting baited. You can get up to 8% chance to taunt enemies on hit with attack. Could be worth it if you really like the taunt. And you're attacking so often with your totems anyways that this will proc plenty. Then the passive tree has kind of changed. There's new fire clusters. I think this is overall more of a win for champion, although I don't even know if Zizaran will path here. But there is Invigorating Blaze now, which the 10 dot multi is nice, but you don't really get the recovery because you're not hitting yourself. However, they do get a lot of chance to ignite, which for Elementalist is pretty unimportant. And I guess even more chance to ignite down here. In general, I don't think this is a huge deal for either champion or Elementalist. And in terms of passive tree, nothing really changed, right? They didn't really add anything for us. These fire clusters are just kind of out of the way and definitely not worth pathing to. And when it comes to the new support gems for Explosive Arrow, I would say the most interesting one is maybe Sadism. The problem is this is less duration of ailments. Now, very often when you see reduced duration, that is easy to come by, but this is literally less, right? A less multiplier. So if you're scaling a little bit of increased ignite duration, that is not really going to make up for that. It will be incredibly hard to get your ignite over anything but like 1 or 1.5 seconds. And the problem with that is mostly that your ignite proliferation while mapping will suck. And I get that you're applying ignite so often, it might seem fine, but even when you're applying it a lot, right, there's still different rolls, right? Like the fire damage has a roll range, so the ignite does as well. So if you get a big ignite and that one lasts longer, that will also be a damage increase in general. Do not try returning projectiles. I don't think I have to talk about Pierce again on this build. It is completely useless. You only get a fuse on the last target that you hit. I guess we can quickly talk about Flamewood support, which basically makes it so that whenever your totems get hit, it triggers a big AoE attack, AoE projectile attack that falls down, and it scales off of your totem's health, which honestly, we don't know anything about this. Does the projectile shotgun, so can I do GMP? Is it gonna auto-target, right? We just don't know right now. One thing I found cool though is, I'm gonna leave you guys this down in the description. Dreamcore made a video about this and talked about like HP numbers of certain totems, which is kind of interesting. And basically, yeah, Val Ancestral Warchief has a absolute crap ton of life. So yeah, just wanted to knock this out because I got a few questions about this as well. Definitely don't put it into Explosive Arrow though. So yeah, if you're watching this, these guides should already be updated on maxroll.gg. Once again, guides are going to be down in the description. As always, if there's something missing, tell me on stream over on twitch.tv/Palsteron. Or if you just want to hang out, I will personally be league starting Hex Blast mines this time around. But don't fret, I'll be back when it comes to Ballista builds. Don't worry. I'm just kind of doing like a side tour right now. If there's something new in the patch notes where that is like Ballista or Totem based, I will definitely check it out. It's just that right now there really isn't anything, at least not to the league start meta. It is a little bit disappointing, but what can you do? At this point, if I wanted to make a new totem build, I would just be making strictly worse versions of like EA or Toxic Rain with just some other skills, just because.